Since winning the Wings Around the Globe race, Dusty Crowhopper had a successful career as a racer. Unfortunately, his engine's gearbox becomes damaged because Dusty routinely operates the engine beyond its design limits. With that particular model of gearbox now out of production and none available anywhere, Dusty's mechanic Dottie fits a warning light to his control panel to ensure that he doesn't damage his gearbox any further. No longer able to race and faced with the possibility of returning to his old job as a crop duster, Dusty goes on a defiant flight and tests his limits. In doing so, Dusty exceeds his limits and makes a forced landing at Propwash Junction Airport, causing a fire. The residents put out the fire with some difficulty, but the accident leads Government Inspector Riker to condemn the airport for inadequate firefighting personnel. Aggrieved at his carelessness, Dusty offers to undergo training to be certified as a firefighter, to meet the necessary regulations to reopen the airport. To that end, Dusty travels to Piston Peak National Park, where he meets a fire and rescue crew under the command of a helicopter named Blade Ranger, the leader of an efficient unit. Blade is initially unimpressed by the small newcomer and Dusty's training proves to be a difficult challenge. Maru, the team's mechanic, replaces Dusty's inner undercarriage with 2 pontoons fitted with retractable undercarriage wheels for his new role as a single-engine air tanker firefighter. During training, Dusty learns that Blade was formerly in a Seator who played a police helicopter on the TV series Chops. Later, Dusty is devastated by a call from his friends at Propwash Junction, telling him that all attempts at finding a replacement gearbox have failed, and his racing career is officially over. Lightning in a thunderstorm over a forest near Piston Peak starts several spot fires which unite into a serious forest fire. The team fights it and seems to have extinguished it. But later, during the grand reopening of the park's lodge, visiting VIPs fly too low and create air eddies that blow embers about. This creates a larger fire, forcing the need to evacuate the lodge. A depressed Dusty's education in the midst of the large fire falters, much to Blade's frustration. Things come to a head when Dusty makes a forced landing in a river, while trying to reload his tanks against orders and is swept through the rapids with Blade trying to extract him. Eventually, the pair make it to land, and Dusty confesses his physical disability. Blade advises Dusty not to give up. They shelter in an abandoned mine while the fire passes. The situation is complicated because Blade was gravely burned from protecting Dusty in the fire and is grounded for repairs. While Blade is recovering, Dusty learns from Maru that Blade's co-star Nick Lopez from Chops was killed during a stunt gone wrong on set that Blade was helpless to stop. Afterwards, he decided to become a firefighter to save lives for real. When the wildfire threatens the lodge, the national park's superintendent Cad Spinner selfishly diverts the entire water supply to the roof SPR inclosed to prevent the lodge from burning. This prevents the firefighters from making fire retardant for their firefighting duties. With only their pre-existing tank loads, the firefighters manage to help the evacuees escape the fire. Dusty is alerted that 2 elderly campers named Harvey and Winnie that he met earlier are trapped on a burning bridge deep in the fire zone. He races to the scene. Andy pushes his engine to the maximum to climb vertically up a waterfall to refill his water tanks to drop water to save the campers, as the only other surface water nearby is the river in Ogeron Canyon, too shallow, twisty, and rocky for him to scoop from. Simultaneously, Blade shows up and assists Harvey and Winnie by hooking up Winnie, preventing her from falling. Dusty successfully drops water and extinguishes the bridge fire, allowing the campers to escape just before the bridge collapses, but his gearbox fails completely, his engine stalls, and he crashes. Unconscious, Dusty is airlifted back to base where he wakes up 5 days later to find that Park Ranger Jammer is now in charge of the park, to much delight. Maru tells him that not only has his structure been fully repaired but he has built a superior, custom refurbished gearbox for his engine that allows Dusty full performance once again. Impressed at Dusty's skill and heroism, Blade certifies him as a firefighter. Propwash J. Unction is reopened with Dusty assuming his duty as a firefighter, celebrated with an aerial show with his new colleagues from Piston Peak. During the mid-credits scene, the audience learns Cad Spinner has been demoted and reassigned to park ranger duty in Death Valley National Park.